Good morning. We will call the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of Wednesday, April 9th, 2025 to order. Let the record show we are missing one commissioner, Mr. Keller. First item this morning will be the order of business, or excuse me, opening ceremonies, Pledge of Allegiance. Item one this morning will be our order of business. Mr. Solacek, is there any changes to our order of business this morning?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. There are no changes to the order of business.
Okay, I would look for a motion to approve the order of business.
So
I'll
move.
make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. The other item this morning is the introduction of our new Planning and Zoning Commissioner, Mr. Matthew Rothstein. Welcome. Thank you. Just 10 or 15 minute little synopsis of what your
10,
life-
15 minutes, okay.
No, just kidding. Welcome aboard.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Item two this morning will be the minutes of the previous session, February 12th, 2025. Any corrections or additions to the minutes, commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We will move into our regular agenda this morning. First item this morning is a rezoning request, REZ-001-2025. This is to consider a zoning map amendment from unzoned and community commercial to public for a part of Block 4 of the New Haven Second Addition subdivision in the northwest quarter of southeast quarter of Section 33, Township 140 North, Range 96 West, in the city of Dickinson. The site consists of approximately 3.4 acres. Ms. Burchek, good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. The applicant is requesting approval of a zoning map amendment from unzoned and community commercial to public for part of Block 4 of the New Haven Second Addition subdivision located within the city of Dickinson. So the purpose of this rezoning is to allow the Park District to utilize the space for plantings to establish a community orchard within the city. As of now, we've also got a representative from Dickinson Parks and Recreation, and I'm also available to answer any questions that you guys might have about this rezone, but staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Ms. Burchek. Does the applicant want to make any comments? Commissioners, do you have any questions for Ms. Burchek or the applicant regarding this?
I just had a question on access to that, as far as where you're assuming people are going to access that from.
So the access point is off of 12th Street West. You can kind of see that lot extends down to that street. I believe right now there's currently a dirt road up there, but I wouldn't really perceive that as being upgraded to any kind of asphalt because I don't believe it's going to be utilized that often. If you want to.
Sorry, Benjamin Ray, Executive Director, Dickinson Parks and Recreation. It actually is currently asphalt access there, and we are currently utilizing it for maintenance of that property. We go in there regularly to mow it and to maintain the property as it exists now.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Any other questions for staff? All right, if not, thank you, everyone. I would look for action on this item then. Oh, that's right. Oh, it's too early this morning. This does require a public hearing. At this time, we will open the public hearing regarding this rezone request. Anyone in the public or online has any comments or concerns regarding this rezoning request, please come forward to the podium or call into 701-456-7006. Anyone in the public have any comments or concerns? Seeing and hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
I will make a motion. I move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of REZ-001-2025, the Dickinson Parks and Recreation rezoning request, as being consistent with the City of Dickinson Comprehensive Plan, as being compliant with the City of Dickinson zoning ordinance, and as being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Burchett. We'll move on to item B this morning. This is a final minor plat, FLP-001-2025. This is to consider a minor subdivision plat for the 16th Street Business Plaza Addition subdivision located in the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 34, Township 140 North, Range 96 West, in the city of Dickinson. The site consists of approximately 1.21 acres. Ms. Burchett.
Thank you, Commissioners. Natalie Burchak, City Planner. So the applicant is requesting approval of a minor subdivision plat for the 16th Street Business Plaza Addition subdivision. So this is going to be a replat of Lot 1 of Block 1 of the Dover Addition and a replat of part of Lot A of the Western Second Addition. There's also an unplatted portion of Section 34, Township 140 North, Range 96 West, that is also included as part of this minor subdivision plat. So according to the applicant, the purpose of this proposed subdivision is to divide the land into two separate lots with the intent of selling one of the lots. So the site is zoned as community commercial, and the proposed subdivision is 1.213 acres. Staff has not received any comments from the public about this property and recommends approval of this plat. And then we've also got applicants, representatives, and the applicants here, and I'm available to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Any questions for Ms. Burchett? Commissioners? All right. Does the applicant want to make any comments regarding this? All right. Take that as a no. All right, any questions, Commissioners? All right, seeing none or hearing none, we will open the public hearing regarding this final minor plat. If anybody in the public has any comments or concerns regarding this application, you can step forward to the podium or call into 701-456-7006. Anyone in the public have any comments or concerns regarding this application? Hearing and seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners?
I'll go ahead and make the motion. I move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of FLP-001-2025, 16th Street Business Plaza Addition Final Minor Plat as meeting all the requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interests of the public health, safety, and welfare.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All right, we will move into item C. This is a final major plat, FLP-002-2025. This is to consider a major subdivision plat for the Jerry Williams subdivision located in the southeast quarter of Section 22, Township 139 North, Range 96 West, located in the city of Dickinson's ETZ. The site consists of approximately 35.66 acres. Ms. Burchak.
Commissioners, Natalie Burchak, City Planner. So the applicant is requesting approval of a final major subdivision plat for the Jerry Williams subdivision. As mentioned, it's located in the southeast quarter of Section 22, Township 139 North, Range 96 West. The municipal meridian in Stark County in the city of Dickinson's extraterritorial zone. So according to the applicant, the purpose of this proposed subdivision is to divide the land into appropriately sized lots for each of the residents that are currently living on the tract. The site is zoned agriculture and the proposed subdivision is approximately 35.66 acres. This was previously heard at a planning and zoning commission on February 12th, 2025. And the planning and zoning commission recommended approval without conditions on the preliminary plat. We've also gotten an updated road maintenance agreement just to designate the road maintenance responsibility onto the residents currently on that plat or that private access road that you can see. Staff has not received any comments from the public and recommends approval of this plat. And then we've also got a representative from the applicant as well as me to answer any questions that you might have.
Is the zoning remaining ag?
Yes.
Does that fit into our, their 5 acres?
Yeah, so all of the proposed lots are 5 acres.
Thank you.
I'm Nick Jensen with Western Edge Surveying here, representing Jerry Williams for this project. So if there's any questions,
morning.
be happy to take them.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff or the representative regarding this? All right, see any questions? All right, I just had the question if it fit our size requirements, so.
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right, with that, if there's no other questions, we can open the public hearing on this. Anybody in the public have any comments or concerns regarding this final major plat application, FLP-002-2025? Can come to the podium or can call into 701-456-7006. Anyone in the public have any comments or concerns regarding this application? Hearing and seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
I'd also like to add one thing, that the road maintenance agreement that was proposed has been shown to the county, and they have approved of that agreement.
Yeah, I think there was a copy of that in here if I remember.
Yeah, there should be a copy included in your packet of that road maintenance agreement. It'll be recorded along with the plat.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Burchak.
Mhm.
Any other questions, staff? If not, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of FLP-002-2025, the Jerry Williams subdivision final major plat, as meeting all requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of public health, safety, and welfare.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Okay, we'll move to item D this morning. This is to consider a minor subdivision plat for the Badlands Storage Second Edition subdivision located in the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 28, Township 140 North, Range 96 West, in the city of Dickinson. The site consists of approximately 6.04 acres. Ms. Burchak.
Thank you, Commissioners. Natalie Burchak, City Planner. So the applicant is requesting approval of a minor subdivision plat for the Badlands Storage Second Edition subdivision, which is a replat of Lot 1 and Block 1 of the Badlands Storage subdivision and Lot 1 and Block 1 of the Tweetins Third Edition subdivision. It's located in the city of Dickinson. So according to the applicant, the purpose of this proposed subdivision is to combine the existing lots in order to expand the existing convenience storage operations. The site is currently zoned community commercial, and the proposed subdivision is roughly 6.04 acres. The applicant has also submitted an associated special use permit application for the existing convenience storage to expand their operations. And approval of the special use permit is contingent on the approval of this minor subdivision plat. So we have a representative from the applicant, I believe is online, and also I am present to answer any questions that you guys might have. Staff has not heard any comments from the public and recommends approval of this subdivision.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Burchek. Any questions for staff or the representative commissioners? So there was 2 parcels at one time, they're just gonna combine them, that's what they're doing?
Yeah. Since they're in separate subdivisions, a lot modification process was not available to the applicant.
Gotcha. Right. Any questions? All right, if there's no questions, we can open the public hearing regarding this final minor plat. Anybody in the public have any comments or concerns regarding the Badlands Storage final minor plat application? Come forward or to the podium, or 701-456-7006. Anyone in the public have any comments or concerns regarding this application? Hearing and seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, I would look for a motion.
I'll make a motion. I move the City of Dickinson Planning Zoning Commission recommend approval of FLP 003, 2025, Badlands Storage Second Edition Final Minor Plot, as meeting all the requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item E this morning, we will have a special use permit, SUP-001-2025. This is to consider a special use permit amendment for a convenience storage facility in the general commercial zoning at 430 29th Street West. The property is legally described as Lot 1, Block 1 of the Badlands Storage Subdivision and Lot 1 in Block 1 of the Wheaton's Third Edition subdivision in the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 28, Township 140 North, Range 96 West in the city of Dickinson. The site consists of approximately 6.04 acres. Ms. Burchek.
Thank you, Commissioners. Natalie Burchak, City Planner. So the applicant is requesting approval of a special use permit application for a convenience storage facility for 609 units. The convenience storage facility would be located on a 6.04 acre parcel zoned community commercial at 430 29th Street West in the city of Dickinson. The applicant has a representative here online that can answer any questions. I'm also available to answer any questions. We have not received any comments from the public about this special use permit, and staff recommends approval, subject to the conditions listed at the end of the staff report, as well as being contingent on the approval of FLP-003-2025.
Is it community commercial or general commercial?
It is community commercial.
Okay, because our sheet shows general commercial on it, so. All right, any questions for Ms. Burchek or the applicant? I think we're all pretty familiar with this facility, so. All right, if no questions for the applicant or Ms. Burchek, we will open the public hearing. At this time, we open the public hearing for the special use permit application regarding the convenience storage facility at 430 29th Street West. If anybody has any comments or concerns regarding this application, please come forward or call into 456-7006. Anyone in the public have any comments or concerns regarding the special use permit application? Hearing and seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move the City of Dickinson Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of SUP-001-2025 five-star storage SUP as meeting all the requirements of the Dickinson Municipal Code and also being in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burchek. Item 4 this morning is public issues of concern not on the agenda. If there's anyone in the public that has any issues of concern they'd like to address this morning, they can come forward at this time. Or they're also available to call in online at 701-456-7006. Anyone in the public have any issues they would like, of concern they would like to bring to the commission this morning? Seeing and hearing none, we will close that item on our agenda. Item 5 is items not on the agenda. Commissioners, if you have anything that you'd like to bring up today or discuss, this would be the time. All right, we will move on. We have a work session scheduled this morning. Our first item on our work session this morning is a corridor overlay district updates. Ms. Burchek will be handling that, it looks like.
Good morning, Commissioners. Natalie Burchak, City Planner. So I'm here to present about the corridor overlay district that the City of Dickinson currently utilizes in order to kind of promote specific building standards along corridors within the city. So the purpose of this overlay district is to promote the public health, safety, and welfare, as well as encourage higher aesthetic quality along major transportation corridors. This applies to major constructions along the corridor. However, single-family homes are exempt from building to this corridor overlay district. It mostly applies to either industrial or commercial constructions, as well as larger apartment complexes. And so the current roads that are in the overlay district are listed to the right. They should also be included in the packets that you were given this morning. So the main concern right now is Fairway Street. So Fairway Street is not currently listed as one of the corridors in the overlay district. It is currently designated as a minor arterial and serves as the only alternate route directly connecting I-94 Business Loop and Highway 22, just all the way straight through the city in combination with 9th Street East and West. And the west side of Fairway continues to develop more commercially. So new construction in the city's eyes should comply with these corridor overlay district regulations if this corridor is continued to be utilized to go across the city. This corridor overlay district could also be applied to 9th Street West and 9th Street East. While those sections of the road are primarily residential, if they were to develop commercially in the future, it would be smarter to have them in the corridor overlay district now. And then possible future fairway extensions. As you can see, the road was slated to be continued on to the west for that kind of commercial development in Dickinson Hills. So adding that portion into the corridor overlay district, it would just continue if Fairway Street was continued. So staff is just looking to see if there's any feedback from you guys about the idea of proposing a zoning text amendment to add Fairway Street into the corridor overlay district. So if you have any questions,
Would
I'm
add all of it, 'cause isn't it 400 feet now?
What's the question, I guess? I'm not following.
What? I thought all the corridor, anything off a major corridor is only 400 feet back, is what I thought.
But it's only those that are specifically listed in,
It's 400 feet from all of the roads that are listed up here,
Right.
which,
So we would put Fairway all the way through town, to the other side of town? Is
so
that the proposal? That's what I'm trying to understand here.
Fairway currently, let me get the exact road that it,
Because I'm guessing the hospital addition in that part right there is already in the corridor district.
so the construction around the hospital was added to the corridor overlay district because it's visible from the 94 Business Loop.
Because it's 400 feet back, right?
yeah, because that property is located within that vicinity of the West Business Loop. In this case, as you continue to go west, and the intent would be either Fairway specifically, which, Natalie, you're just looking up which street specifically that ends at. But ultimately, especially that section of Fairway, that's our primary focus. Whether or not it extended all the way across onto 9th Street West and then onto 9th Street East, that's up for debate or feedback from the commission, but I think Fairway is the real prime candidate here where we're seeing commercial development actively occurring right now.
And how far does Fairway extend to the east?
It looks like the 500 block, so somewhere around Fifth Avenue
East?
West,
West, okay.
right before you hit Rocky Butte Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't quite extend like to Highway 22 at all.
Okay.
That's when
Kinda
it
turns in-
transitions to,
Turns into 9th Street
Mhm.
there.
yes.
So the proposal would be to where then? To State Avenue or all the whole part of Fairway? Because that's majority of that past, I mean, the rodeo ground or the DSU softball complex and is residential, I don't.
I guess internally, we had some discussions about continuing it for the extent of Fairway as a whole, but that's subject to feedback from the commission.
Yeah, the idea was to just have it labeled as Fairway Street, so if it continues to extend to the west, it would continue to apply. But as I mentioned before, any single-family constructions are not required to abide by any kind of the corridor overlay district design standards, so it would not impact any of the current development that's along that residential section, or if it was continued to be built out.
Yes, Steve Josephson, City County Planner. I'm glad that Ms. Burchak brought that up because what's happened within the last year is there was a segment along there that was originally zoned. It was zoned limited commercial, and under the limited commercial zoning district, if you have any commercial development along there, it has to be residential in appearance. I don't know why this was left out, but under that limited commercial zoning district, if you do anything, do any commercial development, it's meant to look residential in appearance. Last year, that piece of property was rezoned to community commercial, which has a different set of design standards. So, I just wanted to add that, and along the major corridors where it's zoned either community or general commercial, they are part of the overlay. They are part of the overlay district.
So does this limit, like, parking, how the road is used at all, that kind of thing?
No, it would not.
Okay.
It's just more design standards that they
Yeah,
require.
it's the outward appearance of the buildings, and also that there's certain things, like if you have loading bays, and if you had loading bays and also, like trash containers or whatever, that they're screened from the view of people either driving or walking along that corridor.
So really, the only benefit to putting it, we would want it from the hospital to the west is basically the only place where it would apply, because there's not really any new buildings to the east of that.
Yeah, so since mostly to the east, especially once it turns into 9th Street East and West, is residential and has already been built out, it really wouldn't come into effect or come into play in that area. It's primarily for Fair Street, and then if that continues outward to the west.
State Avenue is also in there, so 400 feet on each side of State Avenue is in the corridor district too, so that would cover almost the high school. And then I-94 Business Loop would cover most of the undeveloped property west of the hospital already, correct?
The potential is that western portion of the hospital property could be developed first, and then that would leave that center portion to be unaffected. So then it would not have to build to the standards of the corridor overlay district, but a 400-foot extension from Fairway would cover that property.
Yeah, I don't see any issue with it other than, I don't know if we need to go all the way to the end of Fairway, I guess, but.
Does it technically extend out already? I mean, there's a dirt road there. Is that technically still Fairway as a dirt road right now?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
It's not currently designated as a minor arterial, but it is still part of Fairway Street.
And there have been discussions of extending that, you know, and making that a usable roadway.
The west?
Yeah. There's just that path, and I didn't know whether that was actually a named road or just a shortcut that people take.
No, I think that was, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's platted or not, but
Yeah, it's still technically
might be.
platted since that Dickinson Hills plat remains in effect. So it's public right of way.
yeah, I guess bring it back. I don't see that there's an issue.
Sounds good? All right, thank you.
Yep. And then item B on our work session this morning will be data center presentation. And looks like you're handling that as well, Ms. Burchett. Or no, Mr. Josephson, sorry.
Yes, good morning, Chairman Friedrich, Commissioners, Steve Josephson, City County Planner. And I just wanted to give a presentation on data centers. Staff has been working on draft language to bring to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a workshop, for review and workshop before, and then seeing if there would be a public hearing on it. But just wanted to go over what data centers, just a summary of what data centers are. So we put a presentation together. Data centers are the physical facilities where the internet lives. You have networked computer systems for data storage and processing, along with supporting equipment such as batteries, backup power generators, and cooling systems. While they've historically been clustered around major internet access points, the technology companies and government employment centers have begun to spread out. It's increased the demand for that, and it means more data centers in smaller metropolitan and non-metropolitan areas. And there has been discussion about data centers here in Dickinson and Stark County. Big technology companies are likely to continue looking for sites that can accommodate new, large single-story structures. Operators specify in leasing space in the same facility for multiple companies may be more open to infill sites and existing structures, especially for those sites that have access to fiber optic infrastructure. This is just an example of a data center. Most of these look like office buildings from the outside and function that way. This is one in Reno, Nevada. And what the interior looks like, I'm sure you're familiar with that. Here you have banks of servers that are in there. In terms of locational criteria, they tend to use a lot of electricity and water to power processing and storage hardware and to keep that hardware cool. The amount of electricity and often water needed for cooling is high in warm, humid climates than in cool, dry areas. So developers favor locations with low electrical rates and cooler climates. And you're starting to see there have been a couple that have the big crypto mining centers have been established in North Dakota. And also, as these facilities operate continuously, developers often look for sites that are less vulnerable to natural hazards, which I would say here in North Dakota, that would be, we're inland, we're inland, so so we're not going to have, we're not going to have a lot of the things like hurricanes or whatever take place here. Wanted to differentiate with crypto mining facilities, and those are facilities dedicated in whole or part to mining cryptocurrency. And I don't really dabble in this stuff, so this was educational for me too. Cryptocurrency is a decentralized digital currency that uses encrypted data strings to denote individual units or coins, and a peer-to-peer database known as a blockchain to maintain a secure ledger of transactions. Several of the most popular cryptocurrencies require extremely complex computations to verify each transaction and add a record or block for that transaction to the blockchain. And what that essentially means is they use more power and they need to be cooled. They need to be cooled either by air or by water, more so than other data centers would be. They also look for locations with cheap electricity and low hazard risk. But dedicated mining facilities are not concerned about proximity to customers and are less likely to invest in backup power. While there seems to be a widespread consensus that data centers are essential to global communications and the global economy, crypto miners. This was one that was built in Ellendale. You know, Ellendale is in the southeast portion of the state. And it was interesting because the county had no zoning or no building codes at the time. And when I talked to the auditor, they're in the process of writing a zoning code. If you look at the lower portion of the site, that's the part with these crypto mining facilities that people are most concerned with. Those are the cooling units. They make a lot of noise and they run constantly. So if you've ever heard complaints about crypto mining centers, they tend to be centered around those cooling facilities. Or if they use water, they're less noisy, but then they have to dispose of the water. Here's some of the current trends that are going on is that micro data centers are smaller versions of data centers, ranging in size from a kitchen cabinet to 10,000 square foot office. They often appear in unconventional areas near users, such as utility poles and parking garages, in order to increase network traffic capacity and minimize information processing time. If you remember a couple of years ago, we had a zoning ordinance change that was about cell towers, you know, with the smaller facilities that are like backpack size. That was a trend that was occurring. This is the trend that's occurring now with data centers. They are popping up next to cell towers, on light and utility poles, in office buildings, and in parking garages, primarily in major cities and metropolitan areas. One of the other trends in what's known as a colo data centers, and those are buildings containing multiple services and application providers, although often leasing out spaces. They tend to be more cost effective for companies, consolidate where centers are located, and they encourage faster spread to edge regions. Also, those facilities are monitored remotely, requiring physical security measures like access control, fencing, cameras, and outdoor lighting. There is nobody on site for those, or very few people. The cooling fan systems and backup generators often produce significant noise. Here's an example of one in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And if you look at the cell tower over there on the right side, I'm going to show a close-up of it. There's a case of a micro data center. So they can be co-located on facilities like this. What are the impacts of data centers? They require high water and electricity use. The cooling systems generate excessive noise. They have enhanced safety and security needs. They provide low employment density. So while they may increase the surrounding land values, which is a benefit to the community in terms of employment, it doesn't really generate much in terms of employment because they're automated. So what are the zoning considerations? Do these uses need new use definitions? And in the city zoning code, there is no definition for data centers. Where should these uses be permitted? Do these uses need special development or performance standards? And how should decommissioning of the data centers be handled? One of the things I've read is some of the cryptocurrency centers is oftentimes after 2 years they're abandoned, or it's been known to happen. So any zoning ordinance should address decommissioning and what the company who built it is responsible for. The proposed zoning text amendments that we're going to bring forward at the next Planning and Zoning Commission would add definitions of micro data centers and data centers. It also designate data centers that would be allowed as a special use in general commercial and general industrial zoning district. It would also include application requirements, provide development standards, and address abandonment or cessation of operations and decommissioning. And we've been looking at ordinances all around the country. We've looked at one in South Dakota that seems to might be a good fit here with Dickinson. I'll let you know too that Stark County is also looking at amending its zoning ordinance for data centers, and we anticipate with Stark County bringing something to Planning and Zoning Commission before this summer at the latest. And my apologies, I thought that I had changed that one, that I'd changed Natalie's spelling of her last name. She could beat me up over that later on. So anyway, I just wanted to give a little background in terms of what data centers are, because they're not all crypto mining centers. You know, they could be as simple as having them in an office and having banks of servers in them, or they could be the co-location ones or the minor ones that can be actually located outside, you know, outside near on the sites of existing facilities. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Just don't ask me about crypto mining.
I did go to the Vision West zoning thing last year, and this was a big issue. I know Watford City was talking about is it Watford City that was trying to keep it within a mile of residences, I think was part of their ordinances, because they usually target, what am I thinking of? Not transmission lines, but
Like the substations.
Substations, that's the word I was looking for. So that's usually where they're looking for the large centers, is around substations.
You know, if you ever want to, and again, this is more about the crypto mining. That's what everybody tends to think of, but as I said, there are varieties of these things. But if you ever go online to YouTube, a lot of these were in communities that really didn't have anything to address that. Now communities are doing things like they're requiring setbacks and screening and baffles in order to deal with the, you know, with the noise that comes from them, and also asking acoustic studies be done as part of the application. So I know that in Williams County there was one that was approved there, and there was another one, I'm not sure of the status now, but in between that, they went ahead and hired a consulting firm to write ordinance language about data centers, which they adopted into their zoning ordinance. And I also know that McKenzie County adopted similar language. But I think it's important to say that probably here in city limits, you're not going to see those large crypto mining facilities, but nevertheless, it is a use that's not currently addressed in the zoning ordinance. So I would recommend, community development staff would recommend looking at amending the zoning ordinance to specifically address that use.
Sounds a good plan. All right,
Okay, we will have language available
sounds good.
for you to review at the next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Josephson. Anything else, commissioners? That concludes our agenda for this morning, so if there's nothing else, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.